The Uffizi Gallery in Florence, 5 favorites, posted on August 9th, 2018. About the Uffizi. And by the way, forgive my Italian pronunciation. I can't pronounce Italian well. The Uffizi Gallery in Florence is housed in a huge complex whose core was commissioned by Cosimo de' Medici from Giorgio Vasari. Vasari, who is today most famous for the lives of the artists, began work in 1560. The building housed the offices, Uffizi, of Florentine magistrates, with a gallery on the top floor for the Medici art collection. The galleries gradually expanded as the Medici increased their collection of Renaissance sculpture and painting. Vasari noted that in his time, artists such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo gathered at the Uffizi, quote, for beauty, for work, and for recreation, end of quote. The last Medici heiress bequeathed the Uffizi to the city of Florence. Today it is the most visited museum in all of Italy. Next section. First favorite, Giotto, Ogni Santi Madonna, painted around 1310. Giotto looks medieval, and in fact he is, just barely. But in style and content, he's the most important predecessor of the Renaissance. He discovered techniques that had been lost since the time of the Romans. In this painting, he shades the drapery not in a purely decorative way that had been traditional for centuries, but in a way that suggests there's a human body beneath. Just rediscovering the techniques used by the Greeks and Romans a millennium before his time would have been enough to earn Giotto a place in art history. But he also made several innovations, such as the use of light from a consistent source and setting a mood via expression and pose, which you'll have to wait for innovators in painting to hear about. Next section. Number 2, Paolo Uccello, The Battle of San Romano, painted around 1435 to 1460. Masaccio, 1401 to 1428, the first great painter of the Renaissance, was the first painter to use mathematically calculated linear perspective. Uccello, whose career overlapped with Masaccio's and extended much longer, is famous for being obsessed with perspective. This painting is part of a 3-painting set. Each of the 3 is now in a different museum, but I'd love to see even one of them. Next section, number 3. Filippo Lippi, Madonna and Child, painted circa 1450 to 1465. Lippi painted some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. This tender, loving version of the Madonna and Christ Child goes back, if you're tracking such things, to Donatello's bas-relief Pazzi Madonna, which I discussed in Innovators in Sculpture. Next section, number 4, Leonardo, Adoration of the Magi, painted 1481. This unfinished 8-foot square painting is one of the most influential in the whole history of art. Leonardo made several innovations in painting. The one shown here is organization of compositions by geometric forms, which allows him to include dozens of figures to help tell a story while still focusing our attention on just a few of them. This is another thing that I'll be discussing in Innovators in Painting. 5th and final, Diego Velasquez, Portrait of a Man, painted around 1645. This is sometimes called a self-portrait, but the current scholarly consensus seems to be that it's not. But there's just something about this guy, if you go for dark and handsome types, which I do. These are the 3 that almost made the cut for 5 favorites. Botticelli's Birth of Venus, Piero di Cosimo's Perseus freeing Andromeda, because the sea monster is really pretty amazing, and Bronzino's portrait of Eleonora di Toledo and her son Giovanni, because sometimes Bronzino is also amazing. On this screen is the URL for the printed blog post. If you'd like to join the Sunday recommendations list, which includes notification every week of current blog posts, the URL for that is next. And if you would support me on Patreon, I would be delighted and have more time to do such things. Thank you for listening. Bye.